It's time for another book special, and this is another one suggested by one of you in the comments. In this special, I'm counting down my top 10 Stephen King protagonists who identify as female. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. Now, normally on this channel, I'm either giving you 19 reasons to read some of his books or 19 reasons to watch some of the movies and TV shows adapted from Stephen King's work. But once a month, I like to do a book-themed special, and this is this month's one. And as you already know, we're going to be counting down my top 10 female protagonists from Stephen King's world. And I will get onto that shortly, but first, I've got a couple of very quick plugs to give you. So everything you need to know in terms of what I'd like to plug is in the description. You'll find links to my newsletter, to my Stephen King quiz book that I wrote and published last year, to some of my fiction that I've published, the Concert Writers podcast where I talk to indie horror authors about them and their work and Stephen King, and my Letterboxd profile where you can come and swap movie reviews with me. As I say, everything in the description, any support much appreciated, but just you being here watching this is absolutely plenty. So let's get back onto the special, shall we? So as you know already, this is the book special, and I'm counting down my top 10 characters from Stephen King books who identify as female, my top 10 women protagonists. Now, this was suggested in the comments a while ago by Angela Holmes, one of the regulars in the comments. Thank you, Angela. I hope you enjoy this video. And you, not just you, Angela, anyone who is watching, please let me know your favourite women characters from Stephen King's world. Protagonists, antagonists, whoever. Let's face it, Stephen King is, I think at least, sitting here as a white middle-class man, what do I know, but I think Stephen King's pretty good at writing women, and he's got a lot of iconic women identifying characters. So let me know your favourites in the comments. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Now, if you're worried about spoilers, don't be worried about spoilers. I'm going to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so you can just come through and enjoy the ride with me and see which fantastic women we're talking about from the world of Stephen King. I think that's about all I need to say as far as an intro goes. As I said again, get in the comments, let me know your favourite women characters from Stephen King's world, but let's do this, shall we? My top 10 female characters written by Stephen King. So at 10, we're going into Full Dark No Stars, and in particular, A Good Marriage, and one Darcy Anderson, who, and it's not a spoiler to say, because it's the point of the story, discovers her husband is a serial killer and has to decide what in the heck to do about that. I like her because despite being petrified the whole thing, she is pragmatic in her approach. She takes time to really think properly and weigh things up. She doesn't lash out, she doesn't react off the cuff, but she's thinking and plotting all the time. And I just really appreciate how controlled she is able to appear, even if inside she is totally panicking. I think she seems like a very resourceful and powerful woman, and I respect her a lot for that. So at 9, we're going into the Gwendy's trilogy. I've got Gwendy's Final Task here, but all 3 of the Gwendy's books, even though King didn't write one of them, Gwendy Peterson, of course, is who we're talking about. I just can't help but like her. Like, sure, some of the plots in these stories gets a bit silly at times, and on the face of it, she's probably a character I wouldn't have expected to like, but she's an absolute delight whenever she's on page. And, you know, I would have really understood it way more if we'd have got lots more Gwendy instead of lots of Holly Gibney. One spoiler alert for you. Holly Gibney is not in my fucking list. Absolutely not. So number 8, we're going to The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and that girl, Trish McFarland. What an absolute star of a young woman. I mean, survivor is the obvious word here, and she truly is a survivor, as she is out there in the wilderness. But just the fact that she didn't absolutely freak the fuck out like I would have done. And it was her dedication to her sports teams that really helped her give focus. And she was resourceful and smart as well for like a 9-year-old kid. Yeah. Spot on, little girl. Spot on. At 7, we're going into Gerald's Game and Jessie Burlingame, another survivor in many different respects, and quite possibly one of the most brilliant and captivating women Stephen King has ever written. We spend so much time in her head in this book, and it's never a chore. Thoroughly complex, but utterly wonderfully drawn across these pages, and absolutely one of my favourite characters, full stop. At 6, we're going into Firestarter, and of course, Charlie McGee. I mean, like with some of the other women here, resourceful, smart, intelligent, determined, sweet as well as a little child, knows good and bad, understands right and wrong, but more than anything, yes, little one, burn it to the ground. Burn, burn, burn those motherfuckers. Oh yeah. At 5, Carrie White from Carrie. See previous example. Burn those motherfuckers. Also, good for her. So at 4, we're going into different seasons, and we're going into the breathing method, which of course features one Sandra Stansfield. Now, women go through an incredible amount to bring new life into this world. And with it comes an incredible amount of shit that they have to wade through, an incredible amount of judgment, an incredible amount of pressure from the health system, from other people, from just the whole entire world. You know, I'm a father of 2. I've seen what women have to go through to bring children into the world. And I have the fortune, the absolute privilege of living in a well-off country and having access to healthcare and having very little to complain about in the grand scheme of things compared to many, many millions of women around the world. Basically, I cannot imagine how somebody does that on their own, which is what Sandra has to do in the breathing method. And I just find her, particularly since becoming a father, I find her strength and her love and her diligence just inspirational as a mother or as a mother to be, particularly at a time as this story is set when being a single mom would have been an absolute no-no. I mean, now it's difficult enough, but back when this story is set, yeah, really, really difficult to get your head around. So a thoroughly inspirational woman who does what she needs to do to bring her baby into the world. So 3, we're going into Rose Madder and Rosie Daniels. Now, seeing Rosie at the start of this book, and again, it's not a spoiler to say because that's kind of your hook of the book, seeing her just decide, fuck it, I am out, and leaving her horrible husband and running away is an absolute joy. It gives you a real buzz at the start of this book, and then watching her leap into her new life is also a joy. And then, of course, Norman, her husband, turns up trying to chase her down, and it becomes a different story. But Rosie is a great character. I thoroughly respect and admire her, more than anything because she is not afraid to accept and embrace anger, as well as doing all of the other things that these women have done in terms of being resourceful, being smart, surviving. But there's an edge to Rosie Daniels that, yeah, I really dig. So at 2, we're going into Lisey's story and Lisey Landon, a quite fantastic character that King has put together. Clearly a sort of fictional stand-in for his own wife and fellow novelist Tabitha King. Oh, Floyd's just come in. Floyd, I will let you stay there, but I'm recording a video, so just stay there. Be chill, okay? Let's see how well this goes. What was I saying about Lisey? Yeah, so Lisey is, well, to be blunt, a rock. She is a rock. She was a rock in her marriage. She is and was and continues to be a rock in her family. And let's face it, she's a rock in the world in which she is widowed and she's trying to find her path through it, trying to organize her life in a way in which she's able to move on. Again, thoroughly captivating character. I really enjoy spending these pages getting to know her, getting to understand her, and getting to see what her story actually pans out as. One more to go, Floyd. So just be quiet, please. If you're quiet in this one, I'll let you join in the outro, okay? So number 1, it's the title character from Dolores Claiborne. And, well, it absolutely had to be. One of the best female characters I've ever read in any book, ever. Dolores she's a force of nature. As a mother, as a friend, as a resident, she just ticks all of the boxes. And that's not to say she's all sunshine and smiles all the time either, as you will know just from reading the start of this book. And I guess that's because sometimes being a bitch is all a woman has to hang on to. So Floyd's joining me for the outro. Those are my top 10 female identifying protagonists from Stephen King's world. Let me know your favourite female characters in the comments. And thanks again to Angela for suggesting this one. If you've got suggestions for future book specials, do let me know, because I do screenshot my favourite ideas and I will come around to them at some point. You got any ideas, Floyd? Favourite dogs? You know what happens to dogs in Stephen King books, don't you? Like, that's the reason I want you to be in a Stephen King book. Let's leave it at that. So yeah, get involved in the comments. Have a look in the description, Floyd Stop It, for all of the ways in which I've got other stuff you can check out. So, Stephen King quiz book, my fiction. Does anybody want a fucking dog? Newsletter, Constant Writers Podcast, Letterboxd profile, all of those kind of things. Yeah, have a look at them. You are a distracting co-host, even though you're literally doing nothing. No, that delivery has already been. That's why we had to stop recording. This has turned into just chaos, so I'm going to wrap this up. Next time, we're back covering movies and adaptations, and let's just say you will have heard of the next movie we're about to cover. Bye-bye. Say bye, Floyd. Floyd, say bye.